What's going on, guys? Insanity coming at you today with a little kill confirmed gameplay on the map Turbine. And before I really get into the topic that I was really wanting to focus on today, I wanted to speak a little bit about, I guess you could say, Black Ops 2 and this whole map situation with what everyone wants to play and what they keep picking. It's like, can we finally start playing something other than Hijacked and Carrier and move on to some of the better maps that everyone just keeps ignoring, like Raid and Drone? Aftermath is, complete crap in my opinion, unless you're playing, some of the more objective-based games like Search and Destroy or Domination. But for those who really like the run and gun gameplay style of Team Deathmatch and Kill Confirmed, you know, can we start playing something other than the same maps over and over? I mean, it's almost just as bad as, how much people like to play Nuketown all the time in Black Ops 1. So please, people, start voting on some other maps out there. I mean, it'd be really great to have some variety, and that's why I really can't wait for this new DLC to drop on the 29th with these 5 new maps, and hopefully there's a whole playlist, based on these new maps, and that we won't have to keep going around and circling the same old maps over and over. I want to play some new shit. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. This is a great day for gamers, mostly because we're finally getting some more concrete details of what's coming out in the next generation of consoles. Code named Orbis, which is the PlayStation 4, PS4, whatever the heck you want to call it. There's a lot of leak specs going on about there, out and about, I guess you really should say, for some leaked people that have some of the dev kits or whatever you want to call them. Pretty much we're looking at some of the more concrete, internal specs of maybe some like system memory of what these systems are having at 8 gigs. So we could probably expect about half that by the time the system actually launches. And, when it comes to the actual video card and the memory that it's going to have, I mean, the system's going to have its, own RAM that's going to be trying to, dedicate to the actual processing. But for the actual video of everything on the actual card, it looks like it's going to be about, 2.2 gigs or so. And by that time, I can see it maybe dropping off the 0.2, maybe going to 1.5 to 2. So it's going to be interesting to see where the RAM for the actual dedicated video portion of the console is going to be going. When it comes to the actual CPU, we're looking at a 4 times dual core AMD 64 bulldozer. So basically that is 8 cores, if you understand that terminology. So that is a huge step up. I know a lot of people are like, why isn't Sony staying with the Cell processor? And that is mostly because they want to try and make sure that, when someone makes a game for, say, Call of Duty, for instance, and now how they pretty much made Microsoft and 360 like their flagship console. They want to make sure that when, Treyarch or Activision or whoever the heck is making the next Call of Duty down the line, probably Infinity Ward, that it's going to be a fair and level playing field. So, sure, you may have a little bit better graphics on the system as compared to whatever the next Xbox is going to be, but they want to make sure that the content is the same and that everyone's going to have a great experience. And when it comes to coding the game, it's going to be very similar so that you're not having to make 3 full different versions of the same game. Now, when it comes to the actual the ports in the system, USB ports is a really big deal, and it's kind of sad to see where the PlayStation 3 is gone nowadays when it comes to USB ports. How it used to be having 4 when the system launched, and then we got the slimmer models, and it dropped down to 2. And if you wanted more ports, you had to use a hub, and it just became a big mess. And that's something that I really hope that doesn't change when the system actually launches. Is we really need those 4 USB ports. Now, it really does look like Sony is wanting to go ahead and stay with, their flagship media, Blu-ray, which is great. I mean, with the 100 gigabyte Blu-ray disc, you can get so much data, and the audio at 7.1 is amazing. And it really just gives the developers creative freedom to go ahead and make the games that they want to make and create these, huge worlds for us to roam around in. So I really hope that, Sony and can come to some type of an agreement with Microsoft or whatever it could be so that the next Xbox as well is going to utilize the Blu-ray media. But we'll have to wait and see once the actual announcements come along. Now, one of the things that's changed a lot over the past, 7 years of this console generation is how much hard drive space do you need? How much is too much, and what is too little? And after looking at everything, I mean, what's in these development kits is you're pretty much getting 160 gigabyte hard drive, in which case they could probably change on the fly whenever they need it, and it's on an on basis, how do you say, like, say on basis, crap, I'm drawing a blank here. Situation, there we go. On basis situation per game that they're developing. And I really have to say, the one thing it's going to factor in, if Sony decides, oh, you need to go ahead and make sure you have mandatory installs on all these games, it's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of different people. I mean, it was amazing how some of these bigger games that released on PS3 towards the end of this cycle that we're having, like God of War 3 was, I guess you could say that's like the middle of the cycle, but games like Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, all these games that require a lot of power, there was never any type of manual install like a game like Metal Gear Solid 4. I mean, there was a lot of cinematics in MGS4, but it still managed to run, and it took up, what, I don't know, 15, 20 gigs of space, which was unreal. So it's nice to see that some of these games that are using just raw power and give you a more cinematic experience isn't taking up that much hard drive space. For more of like, the everyday gamer that wants to just sit around and be casual, some of the ports that, are on these development kits of the Orbis is you're getting the HDMI, and you're getting the optical output, which gives you both the 5.1 and 7.1 surround sound channels. So you do get, a great audio experience, plus you get the full 1080p resolution out of the HDMI. Now, one of the big things that has a lot of people worried is there's a lot of rumors going around about what the new controller, or if there is going to be a new controller for the PlayStation 4. And I kind of believe that Sony isn't going to abandon like the flagship controller that has defined them as a gaming company. Everyone knows that the DualShock it's very unique in its form and how it feels in people's hands, and how it's pretty much changed over the years in no way at all. I mean, all that's changed is, it changed from a DualShock, DualShock 2, DualShock 3. So now, the logical thing for Sony to do with this actual controller is don't make a new controller. Don't do what the Wii U did. Don't reinvent the wheel with this crazy touchscreen component. How's about making the PlayStation 4 an interesting concept by not necessarily making you buy a whole new controller? Let's keep the DualShock. Let's call it the DualShock 4. But when you buy a PlayStation 4, why not include a PlayStation Vita in the box and make it so that that could be a component that you use in certain games in a whole new way? We don't need a whole new controller. The Wii U did it, and it works, yes, but it is still in a much needed, testing phase where all these developers are still trying to experiment what to do with the touchscreen, and there's so many possibilities that it's crazy to think about. Let's leave that to Nintendo to figure out. Let's let them figure it out, while Sony can continue to try and drive the sales of the Vita by not only including it with the PlayStation 4, but also giving it a whole new type of, use. And yes, I totally just got a tweet while I'm talking to you people. But I definitely have to say, overall, the controller situation needs to be left alone. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the way that games are meant to be played is you're just meant to lay back, have a good time, and just use your hands on two joysticks and some button mashing and shoot and Slayer, whatever you want to do to whatever game it is you're playing. Just enjoy the experience. And with all these, 8 cores and 2 gigs of RAM for dedicated video and possibly 3 to 4 gigs, for the actual unit, it's going to be interesting to see exactly where this generation is going to be shifting from and where it is headed. As we get closer to GDC and even Gamescom, we should be seeing a lot more tech being showcased, high-res textures and, maybe some more Unreal 4 or Unreal Engine 4. There we go. Unreal 4 Engine. Wow, I did it twice. Unreal Engine 4. There, I can talk. some more stuff that's really going to focus on what's going on with that. And maybe we'll even see some more, maybe some hints of when we're going to see the next Xbox or the next PlayStation. Anyways, guys, the last thing I wanted to go ahead and focus on, yes, I finally got the gold camo for the Type 25, so I'm no longer going to be using that in my videos. Hopefully you enjoyed the run I did on that, and if you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you next time. Later.